Welcome to the NRL previews for round 19 of the 2023 season. I'm Renee Gartner and joined by Josh Mansour to unpack all the games for this weekend. It's a short round, Josh. Yep. We've got State of Origin happening next Wednesday night in Sydney.
Exciting.
And we kick off this Thursday night with West Tigers hosting the Sharks at CommBank Stadium. Josh, where do we start with the West Tigers going into this game?
Well, it's a big redemption game for them. Obviously, they'll be licking their wounds this week. Pretty disappointing loss last week against the Cowboys. They just got to aim up. They don't got long to kind of regroup, but they just got to. Benji didn't wield the axe this week, which is a massive plus for the players. So they got another opportunity to kind of redeem themselves. And there's a lot of improvement for the Tigers, in my opinion. And they do got a big task against the Sharks, who've willed one of the best attacking threats in the game, Nico Hines, and it is going to be a big game. So they're going to definitely be ready for this one.
I feel like you've already gone into the Sharks, so I probably shouldn't ask you too much about it because I was going to mention Nico, but they're kind of peaking at the right time of the season, coming good at the end of the season. Chance of complacency could creep into this game, though.
It has happened before with the Sharks, and there is an opportunity here. You look at the Tigers, and you'd like to think the Sharks like their chances coming up against them. No disrespect to the Tigers, but I remember last time I hedged my bets against the Tigers, and we all know how that turned out, so I won't be doing that again. But the Sharks do have another massive opportunity here. They do retain a lot of their players during this Origin period, so if I was to look at this one, I'll definitely be hedging my bets for the Sharks for a big win.
Okay, all right. Well, that's the first one down. Thanks so much, Josh. Unmissable matchups taking place all weekend. So if you want to head to this match live, head to nrl.com/tickets. If you can't get to the game, though, you can watch it on Channel 9, Foxtel, Sky New Zealand or KO. Kickoff is 7:50 p.m. Welcome to the NRL previews for round 19 of the 2023 season. I'm Renee Gartner and I'm joined by Josh Mansour to unpack all the games for this weekend. It's a short round. The final game of State of Origin series is being played out on Wednesday night in Sydney. So we're going to look at this first one, Dragons and Raiders. And Josh, it's at the point of the season where the Dragons are now focusing a little bit more on 2024. It's almost like an audition process for the incumbent coach in Shane Flanagan.
Yeah, massive news with Shane Flanagan coaching next year and beyond for the Dragons, and all the players are on notice now. They're definitely playing for their futures, and going forward they just really got to come up with their A game week in, week out. The task isn't going to be easy. They are coming up with an informed Raiders team, but they are playing down at Wynn Stadium where they've had a lot of luck so far. They do lose their two of their best players though. It is a bit of an uphill battle with Ben Hunt out and Tyrell Sloan, so they've just got to come together and hopefully come up with a very, very good performance against a very strong and sturdy Canberra Raiders team.
Well, over to Raiders, that they don't have good form at Wynn Stadium as well, so it's been a bit of a hoodoo for them, but it's been more like a gain one, lose one. Corey Horsburgh goes into Origin, but they get back Hudson Young. How's that dynamic going to change?
Well, Hudson Young is one of the best back rowers in the game so far, so with his inclusion, it was a massive plus for me. Corey Horsburgh, I should say, he's got great second phase footy, so that late offload has been working wonders for the Raiders team, and the biggest strength for the Raiders team is their go forward. They're really strong up the middle. Their forward pack has been doing an amazing job, so it is going to be big shoes to fill in Corey's spot, but I'm sure that whoever does fill those shoes is going to do an amazing job, so I can't wait for this one. It's going to be a big clash, but for me as well.
Pick?
What'd I say?
Who are you going to pick?
Oh, I don't know. I feel like it's a bit of a danger game for the Raiders. Their form isn't strong down in Wollongong, but I do feel like they are the better side in this game. And for me, the Raiders can't afford to lose these kind of games. Yeah. They're either sitting in mid-table, they are sitting fifth, which is a great position at the moment, but there's a lot of teams sitting on those level points. So big opportunity for the Raiders to kind of start breaking away and hopefully get into top 4 position.
Get their way out of the traffic jam, so to speak.
That's the one.
All right, thanks so much, Josh. Unmissable matchups taking place all weekend, and if you want to see this match live, head to nrl.com/tickets. If you can't get to the game, you can watch it across Channel 9, Foxtel, Sky New Zealand or KO. Kickoff is at 8 p.m. Welcome to the NRL previews for round 19 of the 2023 season. I'm Renee Gartner and I'm joined by Josh Mansour to unpack all the games for this weekend. We now preview for the Eels and Warriors. And Josh, State of Origin selections have caused absolute selection headaches across the path for Brad Arthur. How is this dynamic going to change?
Yeah, well, Mitch Moses is out is obviously a massive change for the Parramatta Eels, but they do get Junior Bolo back, but you get Regan Campbell back in the Origin team. So, yeah, a bit of a selection headache for the Eels, but I do feel like overall they do have the side to beat the Warriors. We saw Ryan Madison and Dejan when they teamed up last time, they got a pretty convincing win. So the biggest question mark is who fills in the spot for Clint Gutherson. There have been talks with Sean Russell. He has been named at number 1, but they are pretty big shoes to fill. Guther's one of the fittest fullbacks in the game, and he definitely covers a lot of ground. His talk is second to none, so I think Sean Russell's going to have to come with one of his best games yet.
All right, well, let's look over to the Warriors outfit. They really are looking to bounce back after last weekend. How do you expect him to sort of unfold against this? Sean Johnson also has a question mark over him, like you.
Yep.
He has a baby a couple of days away or not long away.
Hopefully an early surprise for the Johnson family, so all the best there. Big question marks if he plays or not. He's obviously integral part of their team, and whoever fills in those shoes are, again, big shoes to fill. But for me, the Warriors, I should say, definitely have a big game ahead of themselves. They are coming up against Parramatta, who are playing in a lot of form. They did have a big loss last week against South. They just didn't handle the wet conditions as well as South did. And the Warriors, they don't lose 2 games in a row. And traditionally they have been, but this year they are a more resilient team.
Okay, so if you're going to pick a side, who would you pick?
Pretty even on paper, I feel, but I'm hedging my bets against the Warriors. I was pretty confident last week for them to get the win, but I feel like they'll definitely make amends and will come up with a big strategy against Parramatta this week and hopefully come up with a big win.
So all in all, big shoes to fill across the park. What size are big shoes?
Mine, 13.
Shoes? All right, thanks so much, Josh. Unmissable matchups taking place all weekend. If you want to see this match live, head to nrl.com/tickets. If you can't get to the game, remember you can watch it on Foxtel, Sky New Zealand or KO. Kick-off in big shoes is at 5:30 p.m. Welcome to the NRL previews for round 19 of the 2023 season. I'm Renee Gartner and I'm joined by Josh Mansour to unpack all the games for this weekend. Saturday night, we look to some old Sydney rivals, and it's the Rabbitohs and Bulldogs. After a great win last week for South, they're going to need to go into an extra gear. In this one, they lose quite a few Origin players. Great for South to get those Origin players, but not great for them against this side. Yeah,
well, the biggest question mark was, in my opinion, was the defence. They were conceding almost 30 points a game, South, in the last 5 games, which was pretty alarming. But they come up with the biggest win to date against the Warriors. So the biggest thing for me was defence. They come up with a great kicking plan, particularly in those wet conditions, and they beat the Warriors down there, which is no easy feat. Yeah, well, we look over to the Bulldogs. Heartbreak again for them last week, but on a positive, they signed a new halfback with a mid-season train in Toby Sexton. He's going to take a lot of pressure off Matt Burton as well too. I think Matt's the left side kicker, and then you've got Toby coming in on the left. Yeah, it's going to add definitely another dynamic into our attack, and it's going to take a lot of pressure off Matt Burton. Obviously, Matt Burton is their primary kicker, so now Toby Sexton there, it's definitely going to put defences in two minds. So I feel like it's going to release Matt Burton as well. He's going to run the ball a bit more, and he might run it on last. And Matt Burton is one of the best kickers in the game, so you want him kicking as much as possible. But with Toby there, it's definitely going to ease in a lot of pressure off his shoulders. And they play for the Mortimer McCarthy Cup as well too. Steve Mortimer from the Bulldogs and Bob McCarthy in South as well too. So great players of the game, something to really put in forefront of the mind. Yeah, adding a lot of emotion to the game, which is awesome, and no needed added motivation for the players in that regard as well. So both teams will definitely be aiming up this week. Yeah, Souths have been hit with some Origin players missing, but I feel like they definitely got one of the greatest forward packs in the game, and it's going to be a big task for the Bulldogs to kind of contain them. All right, well, thank you very much, Josh. Unmissable matchups taking place all weekend. If you want to see this match live, head to nrl.com/tickets, and if you can't get to the game, you can watch this one on Foxtel, Sky New Zealand or KO. Kickoff is 7:35 p.m. Welcome to the NRL previews for round 19 of the 2023 season. I'm Renee Gartner and I'm joined by Josh Mansour to unpack all the games for the weekend. This is the last game of the round, the Titans and Dolphins. Both teams similarly placed. They both need a win to stay in touch of that 8. And as we said, it's a traffic jam in there at the moment. Gold Coast are going to have 4 players missing from Origin. If you're having 4 regular starters missing from your side going into this one, it's going to be a tough game. Yeah, well, David Fifita being one of them, he's one of their standout players this year, and you've got Big Tino missing as well. So for the Titans, is obviously missing players for Origin, but then you've got the Dolphins on the other hand, who are missing players for injuries. So it's always exciting seeing 2 Queensland teams go head-to-head, but for me, it's who handles this period the best. And for me, I feel like the Titans have been kind of projecting in the right direction.
But it's like AJ Brimson obviously steps into the Queensland side, but we see Jaden Campbell slide straight back into that fullback spot, and he's been exciting all year.
It's almost been like for like, to be honest. And whenever Jaden's been playing, he's been, adding an extra level to his game as the games go on. And again, Jaden's been playing outstanding. He did re-sign for the club, so he does love the club, just like his father. And I'm sure he's going to make a hell of a career in the Titans jersey.
We go over the Dolphins. They had a chance last week with their full squad, to a degree, coming back into the side to be able to sort of return to the form that we saw at the start of the year. It didn't quite get up there. They now lose Hammer, who obviously goes in Origin camp. They do get Jared Wallace back from suspension. Kafusi's still out with a head knock though, so they're a little bit down on troops.
Yeah, again, we touch on the injuries. You just can't foresee these things happen, unfortunately, in our game. And the biggest question mark will be over Jeremy Marshall-King, if he plays or not. He did aggravate his shoulder, and for me, he's been one of their best players for the Dolphins jersey. And they do get Jared Wallace back, which will add a bit of punch in their go forward. And again, with Felice Kafusi, I feel like he's been outstanding in the Dolphins jersey every time he's played. His aggression has been second to none, and he's definitely been helping Sean on the edge there. So it is going to be a big task. Injuries do happen, but hopefully the Dolphins can remain a bit fit going forward.
All right, are you going to pick one out of the two Queensland sides?
I feel like the Titans, just because I feel like they got most of their troops and playing in a lot of form at the moment, and with the Dolphins there have been a lot of distractions with injuries going in and out, and with combinations, particularly in their halves. So I'm going to pick the Titans in this one. I'm
going to remind you, they're 4 down of their usual troops.
I know they're 4 down, but
sticking solid.
I'm sticking solid with the Titans.
All right. Thank you very much, Josh. Well, that's all the weekend's games wrapped. Unmissable matchups taking place all weekend. If you want to see the match live, head to nrl.com/tickets. If you can't get to the game, you can watch it on Channel 9, Foxtel, Sky New Zealand or KO. Kickoff is at 4:05 p.m. Saturday.